Hi guys, welcome to an episode of QQ, brought to you by Second Perspective. I'm Paul Weston, and this is Torin McLaughlin.
Yep.
And this is our first ever Skype QQ, so we're quite excited.
Number one.
First ever. And yeah, today we're going to be doing the film Locke. It has Tom Hardy in it. Why don't you give us a quick synopsis, Torin?
Well, as you know already, it has Tom Hardy in it. Tom Hardy is the main actor in this movie. He's the only actor that you actually see the face of, and that's because this movie is 125 minutes. No, it's an hour and 25 minutes
There you go.
of a dude in a car, basically. And the opening and closing shots are not of dude in car, but rest of movie is dude in car. So it's one of those like one setting, almost one perspective films for the entire time, and a lot more successful than other films. Just let's say right away, we both really like this one.
Yeah.
Written and directed by Stephen Knight. It also features actors Olivia Colman, Ruth Wilson, and Andrew Scott, among others, but those are the sort of three main ones. Andrew Scott is Moriarty from BBC Sherlock. For anybody that watches the show, I think it's excellent, and I can't wait for next year. I literally can't wait. I don't want to. Basically, it's dude in car going through an emotional, dramatic crisis, in which crisis he is the main focus. He is the point of control and negotiates the drama between himself and other characters. And he has to negotiate between coworkers and between companions due to a decision that he made. And we follow him through the entire thing, really close up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly it. It is dude in car. But the whole thing is that it's an amazing dude in car in terms of acting. It's literally him in front of a camera for about an hour and a half, and it's
Hour 25.
Sorry, an hour 25. You know, there's probably 5 minutes of credits, so really an hour 20. But it's just a fantastic. It's worth watching this film just for his performance. Anyone that can captivate us for an hour and 20 minutes by himself deserves to win some sort of Oscar in the near future. But yeah, Torn too, I'm sure. But it's not just his acting that's fantastic. It's all the other voice actors that he talks to throughout the entire. Oh, look at that! Through the entire film, Moriarty, Andrew Scott, is actually one of the standouts as well. And it's the acting is fantastic, even though you just hear the voices. And I think it's actually quite neat because I sort of created my own sort of visuals of. Yeah, it worked the first time. My own visuals for the actors myself, so it's pretty cool. The writing as well is fantastic. And like no matter how good your acting is, if the writing is terrible, they're not going to be able to hold it. So the writing matches for the most part how good the acting is. Often it's just like all the conversations I've ever had in terms of like angry ones, sad ones, so on and so forth. It felt like I've had that conversation before. Not necessarily about like concrete or something like that, because this guy's.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah. He's a construction manager, so like he talks about concrete.
You gave it all away, man.
But the emotional truth of all these conversations stands out, and it does a really good job. In terms of weaknesses, I really like my films that can have this sort of element of rewatchability. I might rewatch it just to see sort of what shots he used at certain times, just for my own sake in terms of being an aspiring filmmaker. But on a purely entertainment level, I don't know that I would want to watch this again too soon. Like with Birdman, I would want to watch right after. And it's just like
I think I agree with you there. I love the movie, really liked it, maybe not loved, but I wouldn't watch it again, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it was successful enough in its delivery that I don't need to. I think, like you said, the idea would be to go back and look at shot choice, basically.
Yeah, and like the set being one in the car, I personally enjoyed. I have a bit of a theater background, so I quite like having sets where it's just like one location, but I can see that being a particular what's the word?
Hang up for some people?
There you go. That's the word. I got hung up on that word, but yeah, a bit of a hang up. So ultimately, I'm going to give it an A minus because the acting was just, and the writing was pretty good too. So I'll give it an A minus. What about you, Torn?
I would have to give it B. I'm leaning towards a B plus, but for me now B seems good. I think if for a movie to be an A, it has to be a little bit more dynamic. I think for what the movie seemed to set out to do, and the possibilities that it gave itself, I think it completed them just about as well as it could have. But I think I probably wanted more from the movie, and I think that's not to deride it. I think out of all the movies I've seen or heard of where it's basically a one perspective, one character focus like this the entire time or most of the movie, I think that this is probably the best that I've seen or heard about. But
yeah, I would
I
agree
can't
with that.
Think of any other ones that I
Well, Buried for one, with Ryan Reynolds. Buried, whatever.
I haven't seen that shit.
Yeah, well, it was entertaining, but yeah, this one's probably better.
Yeah, definitely. I would give it a B because I feel like when I was watching it, I was really engrossed. I left my room where the lights were all off and I was laying in bed with this propped up on like a milk crate on the chair, just like inches away from the screen sort of thing. I left my room to eat and it felt weird to be in the real world. I actually preferred being back there, so I ate as quickly as possible and like jumped back into the movie watching into my little personal theater. And oh shit, why else? The writing was very good, but I have a few qualms about it. And this is a place where I can say qualms and feel okay. Nowhere else, not on the sidewalk. You don't qualm on the sidewalk. I think that the theme of the movie and the way that the characters communicated that theme were too close together. I thought that the writing could have left more in between space for us to guess at the subtext than have Tom Hardy come out and say outright what it makes sense for his character that he is so straightforward in his mannerism and in his speech and everything, but I think that the movie tries to make an argument that we could guess at better than it could tell almost. I think it would have been more interesting, more engaging almost.
Well, more impactful too. Right?
Yeah.
Like if we have to, it's even with like with actors and stuff like that. If someone is told like do a line this way or whatever, they might be able to do it, but the line's always much more powerful. Or learning themes or taking away things will become much more powerful to us if we find it for ourselves than it just being sort of spoon fed to us. So. Is that what you're trying to say, essentially?
Yeah, sort of. So for those reasons, I'd give it a B. I can't really think of any other weaknesses. I thought that the shot selection, for what it was, obviously limited and self-consciously limited, was very good. And the ways that the shots of not Tom Hardy paralleled what was going on in his character development and in his discussions with other characters. And even though they were very limited pool of shot selections, like basically just traffic light and traffic noise visually, they were good. And they sort of changed it up just enough for me to stay interested. And they portrayed like the sort of cipher nature of traffic in that it's like sort of a zen state where you've got this little protected bubble of a luxury vehicle that also has all these like sort of distracting features about it, but traffic can be the same way. Anyway, so I thought it did that really well as well.
So guys, I think ultimately it's a good film, and the qualms that we do have about it are basically, it's good, we just wish there was more to it. In terms of Torin, and for me, I'm not exactly sure, probably the same. So ultimately, I gave it A minus, Tony gave it a B. And if you want to join us for a discussion where we actually get to talk about the spoilers and kind of get into a little bit more of what Torin's talking about, because I think that will be sort of the main focus of what we will be discussing, come join us for the discussion that we will be having. And let us know what you guys think. Take care, guys.
Please do let us know.
Yes, please
everything that you think.
Alright, guys. Might take a little while if they do that. Right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.